Hey everybody, I'm Chef Tom with All Things Barbecue, and today we are making some Mojo Pork Cuban sandwiches. So a little while back on our podcast, Cooking with Fire, we were going through some of our favorite foods from movies, and one of those items is the Cuban sandwich from the movie Chef. Now that podcast recipe turned out so good that we figured we had to share it with you guys here in video format. But if you missed out on that podcast, it's not a bad idea to go back and listen to it because there's some really unique history behind the Cuban sandwich that you can get into. And you can find that at thesauce.atbbq.com. For now, let's jump into this pork recipe by making our mojo marinade. I'm gonna start by getting some zest off the orange before we get into juicing this orange and some limes. So for this recipe, I'm looking to grab about 3/4 of a cup of fresh squeezed orange juice. Now we're gonna go for 1/2 of a cup of lime juice. Next, we have 3/4 of a cup of olive oil, and now we're gonna get into our herbs. I'm gonna shoot for about 1 cup of minced cilantro. We don't need to go super fine with this, but we do wanna get it chopped down a bit. Next up, we have some mint, and we want about 1/4 cup of mint. And the last herb we're gonna feature in this mojo is some oregano. And we're gonna get this minced down and measure out about 1 tablespoon. When you guys are mincing up your herbs like this, it's always a good idea to try and slide the knife through rather than chopping straight down on it, because it actually damages the leaf itself when you just chop down on it. And it releases those oils, and those oils are where all of that aroma comes from. Now, of course, with mojo, we've got to have some garlic. So we're adding about 3 tablespoons minced garlic. Then we've got a couple teaspoons of cumin. And before I get into any salt and pepper, I want to whisk this up and give it a taste. Love all those bright citrus flavors. So we just want to get a little bit of salt in here, some fresh cracked pepper. Taste this one more time. All right, just a little bit more salt. I'm gonna say that's a couple teaspoons, maybe a tablespoon total. And now we're ready to prepare the pork. This is a 7.5 pound pork butt, bone in, but I want boneless, and I only want about 3.5 pounds. So what I'm gonna do is find where that bone is inside. I can feel there it is, and there it's not. So I'm gonna go straight down in the middle till I hit this bone over here, work around the end of it. And there we go, we have a boneless pork butt, or 1/2 of one. The other half, stick it in the freezer, put some barbecue rub on it, do whatever you want, but this is gonna come in handy next time you need a pork butt. And then we're just gonna place this right into our marinade. You wanna try and get it as submerged as possible. If you want to, you can put this in a zip top bag, or you can just leave it in this bowl and cover it, place it in the refrigerator. And this needs to marinate overnight. And if you do decide to leave it in that bowl, make sure that at some point you flip it over so you get some evenness all the way around. So even though we had that one butt prepared ahead of time, I do want to show you guys what it looks like when it comes out of the marinade. So this is the next day. I'm going to show you how to pull it out of the marinade and get it seasoned up and ready to go on the grill. All right, so here's our roast. You can see on the surface that acid has worked on the meat. It's changing color a little bit. That'll just be on the surface, but it will impart that flavor. As far as seasoning goes, we're just simply using kosher salt, and some fresh cracked black pepper. So it's as simple as that. Now all there is to do is to get it onto the grill. We're cooking on a Yoder Smokers YS640 pellet grill, and it's set up for direct grilling, but we do have the second shelf in place, which is where our pork butt has been sitting for the last 45 minutes. During this time, you can see we've got some nice color on the outside. So now I'm gonna turn it down to 400 degrees and let it ride for a couple more hours until it reaches about 170 internal. So we're right around 2 hours of total cook time. So that's 45 minutes at 450, now an hour and 15 at 400, and the internal temperature in the deepest part of the roast has reached 170 degrees. Now this is ideal if you want to slice. If you want to take this to a pulling temperature, let it ride. Just let it keep on going until it hits 200 or more. But for today, we're gonna be slicing, so we're gonna pull it off at 170. You can see it's got some really beautiful color on it. It's gonna add a lot of flavor. I'm gonna pull this off and let it rest before we slice it. If you've got the time, it's a great idea to throw that pork roast into the fridge to cool it down, which is what we've done. And this has been in there just about an hour or so, but it's cooled down enough that it should make it easy to slice. You wanna try and shave this fairly thin. So still lots of juice there in the middle. And this is cooked enough that you see you can pull it apart so it's nice and tender, but it holds together in a slice as well. I'm gonna snag a little bite, get a preview. Just succulent, so juicy. All right, let's get to building these sandwiches. Let's kick this off by toasting our bread, as well as our pork and our ham. Looking just to get a little bit of crisp on the surface here. All right, we're gonna hit the bottom bun with a little bit of mustard. This is just yellow mustard. Give it a good slather. And then we'll start building with the ham. Get a couple slices of this on there. A couple, 3 maybe. Then we've got our pork. Nice and crispy and all that mojo flavor. Then we've got our Swiss cheese. And of course, we need some pickles. All right, we are going to griddle press this on the grill. So let's cut this in half. And we're gonna take this to the grill and use our grill presses to griddle press this. Now, crucial step before we get this onto the griddle, you gotta hit it with some butter. Now, a little bit of butter for the griddle as well. And we have our preheated grill presses that have just been sitting here in the cooker. We're gonna smash these down. And this won't take long, just a minute or two for us to get a nice crisp on the outside and to start that cheese melting. Perfect. Look at that brown. I'm gonna cut this up into 3 portions today because we happen to have a couple special guests drop in. So we've got Troy from T. Roy Cooks as well as Justin from Baby Back Maniac. Happen to be passing through town. I figured I'd give them something to snack on. Come on over, guys.
Appreciate you having us, man.
Yep. All right. Once you line them up, see how we did. Wow. Awesome. I love all those flavors together. The way that the pickle and the mustard works with the fattiness of the pork, fantastic. Gotta love the Cubano.
Man, this is great. We rolled through town at the right time.
Man, the combination of flavors, you know, you got the pork, the ham, the pickle, the cheese, and the bread itself is what really makes this absolutely amazing. Good stuff. Perfect, perfect. I'm gonna take this and run.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the subscribe button. And if you have any questions or comments, or there's anything you'd like to see me cook, let me know in the comment section down below. For more recipes, tips, and techniques, head over to thesauce.atbbq.com. All things barbecue, where barbecue legends are made.